Hello guys, welcome back. Today's tutorial is going to be about the formulas and calculations used in sewing. So without wasting time, we're going to get straight into doing just that. So we'll start with formulas that are used to get the neck depth and neck width. Okay, we use a 3x3 most of the times, but there are times whereby someone's neck is not the usual, so you'd need some calculations to get that. So we'll start with the neck depth. So for the neck depth, you're going to use your neck circumference, divide by 6. So measure all around your neck, then divide that answer by 6. Okay, so this gives us 2.6 inches. This is for the neck depth. Then for the neck width, for this one, you are also going to need your neck circumference and you divide this by 5 inches. So when divided by 5, you're going to get 3.2 inches. So if you have a basic bodice, you can go ahead and put that on. So let me just show you how we put that on a basic bodice. Guys, do make sure you have a pen with you. Make sure you've got a paper or book with you so that you are following through and comparing your measurements as we are doing this. So for the depth, the distance from here to here is what we're going to put. So 2.6 can be measured here. Then 3.2 for the width is measured there. I'm not using the actual measurements, guys, because I do not have enough paper to do that. So we've curved our neckline. Then we can go to our next measurement. Okay, so this is how we get the shoulder. The shoulder measurement. So the actual method of getting the shoulder measurement is by measuring your shoulder, then dividing that by 2. So my shoulder is 16 inches, of which we just divide by 2, which gives us 8 inches. But what about if you forgot to measure this shoulder measurement or were unable to do so? So this formula that we're going to use is bust circumference, divide by 6 inches, then we add 1.5 inches to get the shoulder measurement if you've forgotten to measure the shoulder. So my bust circumference is 40 inches, divide by 6 plus 1.5. This will give me 8.2 inches. So another method, guys, again we use the bust circumference. Now here we divide by 4, then we minus 2 from that. So our bust circumference was 40 inches, divide by 4 minus 2. So that is 10 minus 2, which will give you 8 inches exactly. So you can see these numbers are sort of tallying. They are okay. Okay, so you can actually even get the average, which is 8 inches. Then you measure that here. So your shoulder measurement is 8. I'm not using the actual measurements, guys. So now we can come to the shoulder slope. So next we're going to look at how we can get the armhole depth. So the usual method is getting your armhole circumference, dividing it by 2. So my armhole circumference is 16 divided by 2, which is 8 inches. And mostly the shoulder and armhole depth are the same. So for the next formula which is used is the armhole depth for a bodice without sleeve. This is a fitted bodice at the armhole. it is supposed to be fitted. Imagine wearing a shirt without sleeves and it's gaping at the armhole side. No one would want that. So it should be fitted at the armhole. So for this one, the bust circumference is used also, which is bust circumference. Then we divide it by 6 plus 1.5 inches, of which 40 is the bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. My answer here was 8.2 inches. Guys, I hope you are following through and you all have calculators. So now for our third method, this is for a bodice with sleeves. Now for a bodice with sleeves, it's going to be a little bit loose fitted as there will be a sleeve attachment. So we need that ease to the bodice. So for this method, we are also going to use the bust circumference divided by 6 plus 2 inches, which gave me 8.6 inches. Okay, so this is for a loosely fitted armhole on the bodice. Okay, so that is what differentiates the armhole depth. Then from here you go ahead and measure your armhole depth and you get to have your chest line, and then from this armhole depth you get your center of the armhole depth or half of the armhole depth. Then from here, I'm sure you hear people say you go in by 0.5, you go in by 1 inch, but why do they go in by those numbers? So for small size, you go in by 1 inch. For medium size, you go in by 0.75. Then for large size, you go in by 0.5. Then for extra large, you go in by 0.25. So that is the distance from the center of the armhole. That's where you go in from. So it's according to sizes that you can go in and then just join those points if you're making a bodice like that. Then next we go to our bust span measurement, which is our nipple to nipple measurement. So you can get this by getting a measuring tape and placing it from one nipple to the other, then dividing that answer by 2 in order to come up with what to put on the basic bodice pattern when folded. So here is another method in case you did not have a chance to measure your client. So my bust span measurement is 8 inches. That is from one nipple to the other, and mostly divided by 2 to get 4 inches, which is what is put on the basic bodice pattern when drafting. So the method that we're going to use here is going to be a bust circumference divided by 8 inches minus 1. So 40 divided by 8 minus 1. So 5 is what you get minus 1, which gives us 4 inches. So guys, make sure you have also taken your actual measurement so that you see whether it will tally with the formulas that we are using. So our third method is bust circumference divided by 10 inches. So my bust circumference is 40 divided by 10, which gives me 4 inches. Then we have our fourth method here, of which we're going to use bust circumference again, divide by 4 minus 2. So our bust circumference was 40 divided by 4, which gives us 10 minus 2, which will give us 8. Then you should go ahead and divide that 8 by 2 to get your nipple to nipple measurement, which can be put on the drafting paper. So we'll go ahead and measure this onto our bodies, our tiny bodies. So if you are making a bodice, you would go ahead and measure your 4 inches like this on your bust line, on your waistline, and on your hip line, and make a straight line. Okay? And you should get this measurement from the center front. Then guys, I went ahead and folded my paper, and now we're going to be getting the formula for getting the bust cup size, which is bust circumference minus under bust circumference. Under bust is just the area below your breasts, divide by 2. And my bust circumference was 40 minus my under bust was 34, divide by 2. So the answer that you get here is 6. So 6 is my size, is the cup size. Then 3 inches is what you use to make your bust chair. So if I wanted to buy an already made cups, an already made bust cup, I would go with 6 inches size. So according to the number you get after subtracting the bust circumference and under bust, that is your actual size. That's the size you ask for when you go to a shop. So these 3 here is what we use to get our bust chair, because there are 2 parts of our bodies. So this is 3 measured from the center of the bust pad measurement. So this side, this is 1 inch, and this side 3 inches. Then you go down by 1 inch from the bust and curve these lines like this. This is used when you're making any sort of bustier top. Then you find the center of the armhole and join it to the bust. Then go up by 1 inch. Then also here you go out by 1 inch, 1 inch. Then you join those two like this. Then you can curve this to just avoid the pointy edges, and you can replace these cut edges at this side. So that is how you get your bust cap size. So number 6, we are going to go to our sleeve cap height. This is the distance from the tip of your shoulder, the tip of your sleeve, to the bicep level. Okay, so when you get a paper like this and you measure from here to here, that is the sleeve cap height. Now, how is this measurement gotten? How do you know how to get this measurement? That is what we're going to be doing. This is why you even make that slope for your sleeve. So we go in by using a formula of bust circumference, divide by 12 inches plus 1. So when you calculate that, you get 4.3 inches. So that is the distance from here to here. So it is from here that I can get my armhole depth and place it here. Then you can draw a diagonal line there and find the midpoint, go out by 0.5 inches, then curve your armhole. Then you can add an extension, sewing allowance, and the sleeve round just there. Then you can connect. And you're done with the sleeve cap height. Then we move to our off-shoulder neckline width. So to get this, we need our bust span measurement plus 1 inch. So our bust span was 4 plus 1, which gives us 5 inches. So I can go ahead and demonstrate this. If this was paper, not paper, if this was fabric, we cut out the shoulder, the upper shoulder, then you measure 5 there as the width, then this line at the bottom is the upper bust, of which you also measure. Then you also come down here as the depth of the neckline. So you connect these lines like this and you come up with the off-shoulder neckline width. So let me demonstrate this on paper. If it were to be cut, it would look like this. So this is the width of the off-shoulder. It would look like this. I'm sure you've seen these shades before. So next, let's go to our trousers. Oh my. And the most common and frequently asked question, which is about the crotch. So we're going to start with the crotch depth. So how do we get the crotch depth? There are a lot of methods in which you get your crotch depth. You can sit on a chair, measure from your waist to the chair, you can get the crotch depth. You can measure your in leg and your outer leg, then subtract the two to get the crotch depth. But for this method, we're going to use hip circumference divided by 4, which is going to give us 10.5 inches. Now, this 10.5 inches can be for loosely fitted trousers and mostly for men. If you want a fitted trousers as a female, you can then subtract 1 inch to this and get 9.5 inch. Okay. So if you want a loose fitted trousers, you not need to subtract anything from the crotch depth. Then we can move on to our crotch extension. Okay, so for the crotch extension, for the first method, we're going to make use of the hip circumference of a person. So the hip circumference is what we're going to use for the first method. So hip circumference divide by 20 inches can be used to get this measurement. So 42 divided by 20, this is for a fitted trousers, which gives us 2.1 inches. Okay, this is for the front piece. Then for the back, 42 divided by 20, when you find the 2.1, you add to it 1.5 or 2 inches for the back piece. Okay, which makes a total of somewhere 4.1 inch for the back. Crotch will have a total of about 4.2 inch. So let me demonstrate what I'm talking about. For the crotch length, for the front piece, you measure from here up to here. So you measure your 2.1 here. Okay. Then for the back piece, you measure from this 1.5 or 2 inches, which we're going to add, or you can use the whole 4.1. So if you use the whole 4.1, you'd need to measure from here up to where the 4.1 ends. Okay, but if you use 1.5 or 2 inches, you extend it from the From the line where we ended for the front piece, you just extend 1.5 or 2 inches like that to the back piece, and you are done with this method. Then we have another method of getting the crotch extension, of which is the same with this method, but on this one we use 16 inches instead of 20. And for this method, it's because it's if you want a loose fitted trousers. For this one, as you can see, it's a fitted trousers. So 42 divided by 16, which gives us 2.6 inches. Guys, this is the same routine as the method that we're just from doing. This is for a loose fitted trousers, and this is the front piece. And you measure this the same way that we did with the other method. So you measure 2.6 from here to here. You measure 2.6. Then you add 1.5 or 2 inches as an extension, just the same with the upper method. Just depends on whether you want a fitted or a loose fitted trousers. Then another method to get the crotch extension is hip circumference times 0.05. So 0.05 can be used. It's not an inch or centimeter. It should just be used the way it is, whether you're using centimeters or inches. So when you multiply that, you get 2.1 inch. So as you can see, it's similar with the other method, of which I've gotten 2.1 inch. Then this is for the front piece. Then for the back, you use hip circumference times 0.1 inch. Okay, so when you multiply 0.1, you get 4.2 inches. This is for the back piece. So as you can see here, this is already a larger number, of which you can do the same. You add 2.1 for the front, then when adding 4.2 inches for the back, guys, you need to get it from here up to here. Okay, you get it from this line up to here, the 4.2 inches. So as you can see from this method, for this fitted trousers, we've gotten almost the same results with this other method. That's why I'm saying, guys, do compare, calculate your measurements with me as we are doing this. Then we'll go to the crotch. This is another method where you get your total crotch length, divide by 2, and 24 was mine, and divide by 2, it gave me 12. So for the front piece, you get that 12 and minus 1, so that it is 11 inch. For the back piece, you add 1, so that is 13 inch. Then for this method, when you get to your drafting piece, the piece that you are drafting, you measure this measurement from here up to here. So you measure 11 inches, for example. Then for the back piece, you also measure from the same line up to where the 13 ends. Otherwise, for the crochet extension, guys, I think there are too many methods to use to get your crochet extension. But the thing that you should keep in mind is when you just get your front piece, add 2 inches or 1.5. So here is a method that I use in most of my tutorials, of which I get the hip line that has already been measured here and divide it by 4. So 10.5 divided by 4, which gives me 2.6 inches. Okay, then after you get this 2.6 inches, and mostly I use it for the loose fitted trousers that I make, then when you get it, you add 1.5, 2 inches, 2.5 to it. You add to the back piece. To the back piece, you add 2 inches, 1.5, just like we've been extending with the other methods. Same method here. You can add 1.5, 2 inches, 2.5. Then there is also the lap measurement where you get your thigh circumference divided by 2. And mine was 24 and it gives me 12 inches, of which you measure from the beginning of the line up to where it ends, and you add 2 or 1.5. You choose what works best for you guys. Last but not least, let's come to the circles. Guys, for this one, be prepared. Tell yourself you're going to understand this by fire, by force. You're going to understand this. Let's just open our minds. Let's not tell ourselves that this is going to be difficult. It's gonna be super simple. So for the circles, this is what we use to make, let's say, skirts or sleeves, any place that has got a circumference and you want to add a flare to it. You can want to add a flare to your dress, skirt or sleeve. We're going to look at the 360 degrees, 270 degrees, 180 degrees and 90 degrees, and we're gonna cut all of them and find their radiuses. So to begin with, let's imagine a circle. So the whole of a circle, all this place around the circle is called the circumference. Okay, and it's 360, and if divided in 4 equal parts, it is 90, 90, 90 degrees. When you add all these, they give you back 60. Then this part is the diameter. Okay, this distance is the diameter. The middle of the diameter gives you the radius, and this is what we are going to be looking for in all of these measurements. This is what we look for when we're making a skirt. So the radius is just this distance that is cut like this. This distance is the radius, and it's according to the circumference that you are using that it will give you the radius that you need. So we'll start with the 360 degrees, guys. So this is the whole circle, and we're going to put these into fractions. So 360 is almost just like 4/4, which gives you 1. That's why most of the times when you're calculating using 360, they don't put anything, because 1 multiplied or divided by anything, the number will still remain the same. So for 270, if we take out 1 quadrant of the circle, we're going to remain with 3 equal parts. So we get to have 3 equal parts of 4, which is 3/4. So 3/4. Then we go to our next 180, of which if we remove another quadrant, we're going to remain with 2/4, which should give you 1/2, which is half. I made a mistake there, guys. I corrected it later. Then 90 degrees means you're just remaining with 1/4. So 1/4 is the fraction for 90 degrees. So as I said, I corrected this. This is supposed to be 1/2. So here is the formula. Circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So the pi is always 22/7 or 3.142. Okay, this is a constant number. Then we'll be looking for the radius in most cases. So I have my waist circumference is 36, which is what we're going to be using. So we're going to get rid of 2 pi to find the radius. So radius is equal to circumference over 2 pi. Okay, so we start with the 360. How do we get the radius of the 360 degrees skirt, for example? We just use skirt. So let me write that 360. Okay, so as I said, the fraction is like 1/1. So mostly it's not even shown because 1 is not going to change anything. Okay, so 36, which is my circumference, times 2 and pi, which is 3.142. When you multiply this, you get 36/6.28. And when you divide this, you get 5/7. So this is the radius that will be used. Second, we go to the 270. Okay, so circumference over 2 pi, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to divide 3/4. Guys, on this part, understand that the opposite of division is multiplication. And for you to switch to multiplication, you have to switch the denominator and the numerator. This is just the law used in math, and a simple thing that I can tell you to be doing or to keep in mind is keep, switch, flip. Keep means don't change the first fraction. Then switch means switch from division to multiplication. Then flip means flip the next fraction so that it gets easier for you. So as I said, for here we have 1/2. So keep the first fraction, then switch multiplication, then flip, of which I've flipped the second fraction. And this gives us these numbers. Then we find the radius, which is 11.5. So we go to 90 degrees now. Same method, guys. So we're finding the radius of circumference over 2 pi. I forgot the 2. Please add it. So same thing. Keep, switch to multiplication, then flip the next fraction. and you multiply the upper parts and the lower parts together, okay, which gives us 22.9 inches. So these radiuses will guide you on the, for example, waist circumference that has to be cut, okay. So for example, we start with our 360. You fold your material like this. You can start from a paper to practice. Then you get your paper, go and get the radius, which is 7.5. You measure it like this: 7.5, 7.5, 7.5, all around. This is the radiuses that we have been looking for. This is how they get them. So you go ahead and you cut the radius. Of course, if you have the full length of maybe your skirt, you measure from the tip too, but this is just for demonstration of how to cut them. So as you can see, this is a 360 degrees skirt, for example. Then here is how you fold a 270 degrees. You fold them in equal parts like this. Then you get the radius, that is 7.7. So if you measure 7.7 the same way that we measured for 360, then you cut like that. You cut out the radius first, then the circumference. So 270. Here is how it looks like if it's a skirt. It comes out like this, and you can see there are 3 equal parts with only 1 part missing. Okay. Then we come to 180 degrees. 180, you fold it like this. Okay. You fold it like this. And you get your radius from the tip also. Then you cut there after you get your radius and your full length, maybe it's there, and you get 2 equal parts, as you can see. Then for 90, you just cut it straight up on paper, like, or on your fabric like this. And this is just one of 4 equal parts, as you can see. So this is how you cut your skirts or anything that you've made with whatever circumference.